Yeah. What is good, Regis recipients? How are y'all doing today? Let me know in the comment section. I want to thank y'all for tuning in to this episode of Regis Reflections. Y'all already know each and every episode we have a different athlete on this podcast. And this week on this episode, we have Miss Natalie Hoper. Say what's up to the people, Natalie.
Hey, what's up? Happy to be here.
Thank you for joining me on this episode. Thank you for joining me. So, for the people that do not know, Miss Natalie is on the Notre Dame women's rowing team. So, Natalie, can you just explain a little bit of what being on the rowing team consists and what do you do for the people that do not know?
Yeah, so basically, our season's in the spring, so we actually start in about a month and a half. So we train 20 hours most of the time. NCAA rules 20 hours, like all fall basically. Then a couple weeks before finals, we'll do 8 hours, and right now we're in 8 hour weeks. And then next week we'll go back into 20. So I would say about 80% of the time we're here, we're in 20 hours doing double practices like lifting in the morning, cardio in the afternoon. Obviously, being rowing, we'll get on the water, row on the water. Stuff like that. When our season comes up, we'll travel about 6 times. So like our sport's unique because most sports like softball or like basketball, they have like tons of games. Or like track running, you're doing that all year. But for us, we have 6 races. So like it's a lot of training just for like a little bit of payoff. But it's so much fun. I love traveling in the spring. We go to a lot of cool places like California, Florida, Princeton. Yeah. So it's a great time. And there's 60 girls on our team, so we're huge,
Ooh.
huge team. I think like the biggest women's team on campus, and it's so fun. It's like 60 best friends. I love
That's
it.
good. So, I have a question. To be on the rowing team, do you have to know how to swim, or like do you fall in the water, or is just you just don't know how to swim at all?
That's a great question. You should know how to swim. I think we might have one girl on the team who doesn't, but there's safety measures like in place. But yes, swimming is definitely something that it would be helpful if you know how to do that.
Okay, so when you're rowing, you row like you row on the lake, right? And are you going a certain distance?
We row on the river here. It's like the St. Joseph River, like 2 miles down the road.
Mm.
And then we'll row. Our race is usually so like a normal race in rowing is 2,000 meters, which takes anywhere from like 5 to 7 minutes, depending on men, women, the course, the conditions, things like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Natalie, where are you from?
I'm from Midland, Michigan, so about 4 hours north of here.
So is rowing very popular out there in Michigan?
Honestly, not at all. Like, yeah, rowing is not popular at all where I'm from. So I kind of just found it. I had a friend introduce me to it. Thankfully, I'm really glad I did. But it's definitely more popular like the East and West Coast areas. Yeah.
So you said a friend introduced you. So when were you introduced to rowing?
Yeah, so I was introduced to rowing sophomore year of high school in the spring. I was a track athlete for a few years. I also was a swimmer for 9 years. So I had a lot of like the cardio-based sports kind of, background. And running track, I got injured a lot with like shin splints and knee pain, and just like my body's not meant to run, I guess. It was just telling me that. So I had a friend who was a year older than me who went through similar injuries and said, like, you should try rowing. She found it a year before me. She really liked it. She's like, you're tall. It helps to be tall if you're rowing. You're longer. You can get like a little bit more like reach in the boat, kind of like more length. So she's like, you have the perfect body type for it. I was like, why not try something new? And I'm glad I did because I fell in love with it. So
Wow. So how long have you been? You've been doing rowing ever since sophomore year.
yes, yeah.
Okay. So you did rowing in high school, right?
Yeah.
So talk, and now you do rowing at Notre Dame. So what is pretty much the difference, like the competition level from in high school rowing to collegiate level rowing?
Good question. For me, it was a pretty big difference because I did a club team like in my hometown, so it wasn't connected to my high school, and it was very small. There's about 8 people, like men and women, so we could make like so in like college rowing, it's like women's and men's are separate, like and like professional rowing, but and like at my club we made like a mixed eight, so there was men and women, and that's we could only do like one boat because our team was so small. And then coming to college, you have like a team of 60 women, and it's like obviously a lot more people. There's a lot more boats on the water. Our practices are a lot more organized and intense. So my high school rowing experience was unique in the way that I didn't have a lot of experience racing. I raced like a couple times, but a lot of people on my team, their programs were like pretty good, and they raced a lot more and had a lot more experience with that. But I think the cool thing about rowing is you can kind of find it anytime in your life and end up being really good if you give it a try.
Wow. So now, how many races do you do now that you're in the collegiate level of rowing?
How many races have I done?
Have you done?
Say in college, probably like 12. Like if we've had 6 per season, and then I race over the summer too. So I've a few, like, at least a couple every summer.
Oh, so rowing is basically year round. You could do it as year
If
round.
you want to, you can. Yeah. So I like to row in the summer because I just love it. And I don't want to take the summer off. But I don't row here. I don't row with Notre Dame over the summer. I usually find like a club or something somewhere to row.
So when you
Yeah.
row with a club, is it you compete for competition or is it just for fun?
Competition. Yeah. I think like when I started, like the first summer I ever rowed for a club was
Mhm.
the summer before freshman year of college, just so that I could have a little more experience with a more intense like training plan before college.
Mhm.
And that was a little just more for fun and trying to learn. And now I do it a lot more competitively. So yeah.
Okay, so what does a typical practice day look like here at Notre Dame for the women's rowing team? Walk me
Yeah,
through.
typical practice, like, on the water?
Mhm,
Probably. Yeah, so we will have so usually we'll have morning lift,
mhm,
so that'll be, like, 7 a.m. in the morning, hour and a half lift, yeah, and then go to class all day, and then we have practice at 4 on the water. So our boathouse is, like, a 10-minute drive away, so we usually leave at, like, 3:30 from our locker room,
mhm,
get to the boathouse. We're lucky that we have a really nice boathouse, like, right on the river, and we'll practice from, like, 4 to 6, usually a couple hours, and we call it, like, steady state, which is just, like, long endurance, just out there getting minutes in. That'll be, like, an average, like, steady state practice is, like, the rowing term.
mhm.
And then on days that we do hard work, we call them pieces, and we'll do, like, 4 by 10 minutes or something, or, like, 5 by 5 minutes, and just, like, where that'll be, like, really intense, like, hard work, like, you're going fast, um,
Oh,
really intentional, and so that's like, usually we'll get done by 6,
mhm.
and then we all, leave, go back to the locker room, and we all get dinner together as a team, which is really fun in the dining hall, so
So after rowing practice, this I know you would be sore. Like, so when you're sore, are your arms pretty much sore since you're pretty much doing this all the time?
yeah, honestly, it's full body. So, like, there's a lot of leg involved, which people don't realize, which, like, makes sense because you just, like, see the arms. But
Exactly.
in the boat, there's a seat that moves back and forth, kind of like a rowing machine, like, say, like an erg machine, if you've seen those, like, in gyms, they really simulate, like, what's supposed to happen on the water. So, like, you're moving like, everything is sore. Like, today, I'm, like, really sore even. But yeah, so
Okay, so now that you have gone from a high school level to a collegiate level, have you kind of seen like have you ever gone through anything mentally just with these changes and its change of in rowing?
yeah, definitely. I'd say I like coming here at like after not having like rowed at a very large program or a place where rowing is very popular, doing it in college, there was definitely some like imposter syndrome involved and like some confidence issues at first, just being like feeling so inexperienced compared to a lot of other athletes on my team. I
Mhm.
think it was really hard to find confidence. It took me a while, and I'm like really like grateful for the experience that I've had, and I've been building that. But it was tough at first for sure.
So how did you find that confidence to be able to become better and realize that you actually belong here and you belong on the women's rowing team?
I think just experience, just doing it, like putting in so much work and
Mhm.
just knowing like giving it everything that I have and working as hard as I can and knowing like and just like the time, putting the time into it and like seeing time go by and also my teammates being there for me and supporting me and like the coaching staff and the people around you who can like lift you up and make you feel like this is where I belong and help me to realize like because everyone's dealing with, their own things, especially with rowing when you're in a boat with people in it
Mhm.
a lot of times, like, things like, it can be wobbly or, like, things will go wrong, and a lot of times you think, "Oh, it's me, like, I'm the problem,"
Mhm.
because, like, a lot of people get in their head, and, like, that's really normal, but just talking through it with teammates and being, like talking about it, and we're all contributing, everyone thinks they're the problem, but really, it's like we're all in this together,
Mhm.
which is really nice to have that.
That's true. So you were able to so when you were having this confidence and you were kind of lacking it in a sense, were you able being comfortable enough talking to your teammates or coaches, or did you all come together as a group and kind of, talk it all together, or did you kind of go separate ways and reach out to them?
I think it took me time to even maybe realize that it was the confidence that was what or maybe, like, I knew I was, like, not as confident as I could be, but it took me time to reach out because I think as a freshman on the team, I was intimidated by a lot of my older teammates who were like, I really looked up to them, and, like, I think that's a good thing, they really pushed me, and I had, like, role models on the team, but I was maybe nervous to voice that. So I think as time has gone by, like, as a junior in college now, I've gotten a lot better at reaching out and, like, saying how I feel and communicating with people and, like, getting, just comfortable, like, sharing how you're feeling and
That's true. That's
things
true.
like that,
So now
so
that you've gone through this experience and now that you're a junior here at the University of Notre Dame, do you give advice to the incoming class freshmen or even sophomores who may be going through the same thing or lack anything?
yeah, definitely. I mean, I love to talk to them, and, like, if they were to come to me and we could talk about it. Also, just like every day at practice, making them feel confident and comfortable, and like really lifting each other up, like on the water. If you know if the practice isn't going super well, just being like, hey guys, like I'm really glad we gave it our all today. I'm glad we all showed up. Like maybe it didn't go the way we wanted it to, but I know we're all working hard together, and just like lifting each other up at practice, I think really helps a
Wow,
lot.
that's good. That's good. So you all are basically there for one another each and every single time.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
community. That's really key. That's really key. So what is your major here at the University of Notre Dame?
I'm a science pre-professional major, so like pre-med, and anthropology minor. So
So wait, so are you trying to become a doctor or
I
in
think
medicine?
so.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
eventually. We'll
Okay.
see.
So how do you balance being, because I know pre-med, I know
Mhm.
people is pretty much a tough major,
Yeah.
and you're already at an academic rigorous school,
Mhm.
and you're also a D1 collegiate athlete. So how do you find time to balance those two and also find balance for yourself?
That's a good question. I think at first, freshman year, it's tough because you're, trying to balance like getting to know people and like practice and classes, but like as time has gone by, I think honestly, like reflecting, I think it really helps to be busy with sports because it forces me, like if I have like an hour to do homework one day or I only have a couple hours at this interval, I have to sit there and do it because I have nothing, like I have no other time in the day to do it. So I just have to get it done then. It like forces me to just sit down and do it. So I think it can be tough because a lot of times I find myself like I'm a rower and I'm a student, and like a lot of times I feel like that's all I have time for,
Mhm.
which can be a little frustrating sometimes, but mostly I just love it. I absolutely love my sport, and
Mhm.
I love the education that I'm getting here. So I'm just grateful that I can do both. But yeah, it can be tough when you see like some of your friends who aren't athletes doing things that you're like, oh, like I have a friend going to Purdue this weekend, visiting friends at like Purdue University, and I'm like, that'd be so fun to do something like that, but I don't have time, and that's okay because like I think the sacrifices are so worth it,
Mhm.
but it definitely can be tough sometimes.
So you're so big on sacrifice,
Yeah.
sacrifice your time
Mhm.
pretty much to focus on your sport and your academics and to
Yeah.
have fun later.
Yeah, I guess. I think this like the sport is fun. I
Mhm.
mean, it's definitely like can be stressful, like obviously, but I just think it's so worth it.
Cool,
So,
cool. So could you go in a little bit on how rowing can be stressful?
yeah. So for us, like so we're a racing sport. So we have a lot of like rowing like standards that we have to hit.
Mhm.
Kind of like if you're a runner and you run the mile, like you have to make a certain time or something like that. Like our big tests are like a 2,000-meter test and a 6,000-meter test, and you do that on an erg, like rowing machine.
Cool.
So a lot of like recruiting for colleges is based off of your 2K time, and then like national team things if you're looking to make the national team and getting invited to national team selection camp, stuff like that
Mhm.
is going to be based on like a lot of those metrics. And like there's a lot of other things that go into it too, but that can be stressful, like making sure that fast enough, like you're hitting those standards. Or we have like today we have a really hard practice coming up,
Mhm.
and I'm a little nervous about it because I just know it's gonna hurt a lot. Like I know I'm gonna be in there and like in a lot of pain, but like it's kind of fun because you're pushing your body to the limit. But other times it's just like, man, it's gonna hurt. Like,
Mm. So
you know,
you
like
just like you know that you're gonna push your body to the limit
yes,
and it's gonna hurt, and you
yeah,
still are gonna go through with it.
yeah, yeah, because it's worth it. Like the payoff is so worth it. Like everything, all the training, all the months. Like I'd say like basically like a year of training leads to just a few moments, but like it's so worth it being there with your team and like standing like on the podium or you know after a race in the boat with your teammates and just knowing you gave it your all and like all that training led to that moment. It's
Mm.
like I'm just chasing that feeling every
Mm.
time.
That's
So
good. That's good. So what is your personal end goal with rowing in regards here to Notre Dame?
you're at Notre Dame. My personal end goal, I would say, I'm looking to hold a record for our 2,000-meter like the test.
Mhm.
So that's the goal for here. Also, as a team, this year ACCs, we're looking to get on the podium. We've got a really tough conference for rowing, so we're thinking like this is our year. Next year, we're going to be joined by Cal, Stanford, and SMU.
I read about
So
that. I read
yeah,
about that.
yeah. So that's going to really increase the competition. So we're like, this is our year to get on the podium, and then next year we will say, well, top five, like maybe like we'll see, but it's going to be good competition. But yeah, definitely just I think also just like building the culture. I think our team culture has been it's really good, and just to keep that trend going.
Mm.
So,
So I know for rowing, you all do you all have you said that you all have an ACC tournament, correct?
yeah.
So have you been in the ACC tournament in previous years?
Yeah. So we go to ACs every year, and then like the NCAA would be the next step. So to be invited to that. So I guess that is like, I should have mentioned, but yes, making it to NCAAs would be like that is also a goal for sure. So
Oh, that's
that one,
that's above
yes,
ACC.
yes, that one is like next. So this year that'd be our like end goal to make it on the podium ACCs and then go to NCAAs.
And is there anything after NCAAs, or is that it?
So that would be it for Notre Dame rowing. Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. So for rowing, if it's raining outside, do you all still like still row, or do you all just stay in? Are you still row if it's raining?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if it's storming, no, but if it's raining, snowing, I mean, I know we've rode in like hail before. We had a race last year in Tennessee. It was our first race of the season in like mid-March.
Uh-huh.
It was like 20 degrees. It was freezing. Like my hands were like numb by the end of the race, but you just do it.
Push through?
Like, yes. Yeah, it was so cold. But we'll row here when it's like in the 40s, and we'll just put on tons of layers, and like, you're getting splashed with water sometimes, you're getting cold, but
Wait, so you have tons of layers. How are you able, just with all these layers, still able
well,
to?
they're like flexible layer. You put like a thermal on, like some leggings. Yeah, they're like it's not like a snow, like it's not like a coat or anything.
Okay, so could you talk a little bit about the traveling aspect in rowing? Because from people who are not non-athletes, we see traveling. Oh, you get to go to these hotels, these new states, cities. It must be lit. You outside for real, but
Yeah.
people really don't know. It's really a business trip. So could you talk a
Yeah.
little bit about the traveling aspect?
Yeah, no, it can be stressful sometimes. We'll leave like usually we'll miss a whole Friday of classes, sometimes even Thursday, depending like when we go to California, we'll miss Thursday and Friday because it's a long travel day. It's like, 3-hour time change.
Mhm.
So we all like bus to the airport, fly, and it can be like, there's like we'll travel with up to like 40. We don't ever take like all 60, but 40 people traveling together can be really hectic. And we were flying back from our winter trip this a month ago,
Mhm.
and our flight was canceled, so our coach is like scrambling to like book another flight. So like that kind of thing, getting through everyone through security to the flight on time, and then actually like being like racing when we like get to our destination. We're not like we're in the hotel or we're like training or like racing. Like there's never like leisure time other than like sleeping and eating. So like we travel, like we fly to where we're going or we drive. Like like Tennessee, we'll take a bus. It's like 8 hours. So
Mhm.
it's kind of a long trip, but it's good.
Little
It's
road
not
trip.
too
Yeah,
bad.
not too bad.
Yeah, it's still a road trip, but like we get there and we like sometimes we'll go straight to the river, the course, and we'll just like straight from travel, and you like change into your like practice uniform and just get on the water like right away after like traveling for hours. And then like yeah. So it's never like a joy trip, but it's always I love traveling with the team. I think it's so much fun. Like I said, like because we only have like 6 races.
Mm.
So like we just have to make the most of every time we go compete. So I
Wow.
really like look forward to
So
it.
to go back with this, I'm trying to make the traveling aspect, but also with this pre-med major. I know homework is tough.
Yes.
How do you do homework on the road when you're in a hotel or when you get back? How does that aspect work?
Yeah, I do homework all the time when traveling, which is not fun, but you have to do it. So on the plane, on the bus, like in the hotel, like watching like Zoom recordings of like lectures or just copying people's notes, doing homework. Like it's definitely not ideal, but it's worth it, I think. But yeah, the best is when we have ACCs is the week after finals, so we
Oh,
don't have to do anything. And it's you can just enjoy like being there without having to like be like, oh, I have an exam next week or I have homework to do. Like, yeah,
so you could just strictly focus
yeah,
on rowing.
yeah.
That travel aspect is very,
It's intense.
oh my God. Wow, that's actually great. So I know, if correct me if I'm wrong, is there rowing in the Olympics, correct?
Yes.
Is that a personal goal for you to go to the Olympics and do rowing?
Yeah. My dream, dream in 2028 LA Olympics is like,
Oh, I forgot the Olympics are coming to America.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So that is,
so if they come to America, rowing is gonna be in Cali, or is it gonna be on the East Coast?
gosh, I think they would keep it on the West Coast.
Mhm.
I know there's been talk of different places it can be. I'm not sure
Mhm.
yet, but yeah, somewhere.
So say if you win, all glory to God, gold medal for rowing in the Olympics, is there anything after that? Can you join? Is there a professional team, professional club, and everything like that, or is that?
Yeah. So US rowing has a whole like
Oh.
there's a U19 program, U23 program, like national teams, and then
Mhm.
there's like a senior national team. So what you would like after college, I would train like for a club or like try to make the national like the senior team.
Mhm.
And then once like you can like there's other races like there's like Pan American Games or there's like even like the World Championships is like separate from the Olympics. Like there's different teams that you
Oh.
can make for the national team, like different races that you can go to.
Mhm.
And then there's like a whole separate like Olympic camp where you would have to like, or Olympic time, like Olympic selection where you like, I think they're like in that process. Actually, the senior team is about to head into that process now where they'll be like selecting for the Olympic team for 2024. So you can be on the senior team for different events, and then you have to like, there's even further selection to make the Olympic team.
Wow. So when you're on these teams, you go against other countries, correct?
Yes.
Wow. These are other countries are they on that level as well, would you say, in regards to rowing?
Yes. Yeah. They're honestly like the world, like rowing is, there's a lot of countries that are very good. Like Romania is like amazing. Like, and there's with like, yeah, with pro rowing, there's so many different like types of, like there's different boat classes. Like in college, we row an 8-person boat or a 4-person boat. But when you get into professional rowing, there's like a pair, which is 2 people. There's a quad with 4 people with 2 oars. Like there's sculling and swooping. There's different kinds of rowing. There's different boat classes. Like there's a lot more avenues that you can take, which is pretty cool, I think. So I think college, we just keep it like we just do 1 oar, which is called sweeping, in an 8 or a 4. But then when you get out there, there's so much more to do, which I think is really exciting. So this past summer, I rowed in a pair, which is 2 people. And then I trained in that for a few weeks. And then I ended up rowing in a 4 for the rest of the summer. Well, I went to U23 selection, like national team selection camp, and I tried to qualify for the quad, and then ended up getting, which is 4 people with 2 oars, and then I got switched into the 4, which is 4 people with 1 oar. So, but yeah, so there's all kinds of different like avenues you can take, which I think is like.
So the less people on the boat, is it harder for rowing, or is it easier, would you say?
It kind of depends. I think like it's a smaller boat is more wobbly, so it's like harder, like a lot, like like your movements will have a bigger impact on the boat. So you have to be really in sync with the person you're rowing with. But then again, if you're like in an 8 and there's 8 of you, you all have like that's more people that you have to be cohesive with. So it kind of just depends on your preference sometimes, or if you work better with more people, or if you work better with just one. So
What is your preference?
I don't know. Like that's a tough question because I love 8s because they go really fast, and I like get to meet a lot of really cool people, like make pretty close bonds with like that group of people. But then when I was in the pair this summer, that's also really fun because those boats, I mean, they don't go as fast as like an 8 because there's only two of you. But I don't know. My pair partner and I like got really close, and I'd say she's one of my best friends now. And I didn't even know her before the summer, and so having that bond, just the 2 of us in the boat, was really cool too.
Interesting.
So yeah,
It's like this. Like rowing is such an interesting sport. I'm just learning something new completely. I would have never known.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So one final question to wrap things up. What advice would you give to the people out there on their mental health journey?
I think just don't forget like that you love what you do. I think it's really easy to get caught up in all the pressures and the stress and anxiety. And even the other day I was talking to one of my friends, and she's like, I was like, letting my stress out, kind of like she's kind of taking it in, and she's like, Natalie, just remember you love it. Like you love this. And even if you don't necessarily like love your sport, or if you're falling like you love the people that you do it with, or like there's some aspect of it that you love, you're here for a reason. Like I just have to remind myself I love it. Like today's practice is going to be really hard, or like the future, all these like unknowns, it's like scary, but like I love it. And at the end of the day, like that's what's getting me through. I love it. I love the people. I just love it so much.
Wow,
So,
true love and passion for the sport.
yeah.
Wow.
I think just remember that is important.
Well, Regis recipients, you heard it from Miss Natalie right here. Thank you, Natalie, for joining me on this episode of Regis Reflections.
Thank you.
Regis recipients, remember, it's okay to not be okay. You matter. It's your boy JD, and I'm out.